in prison over a tax charge that had nothing to do with Russia from 2005. Now, today, the trial of Paul Manafort kicked off in what are about alleged crimes. Let me tell you right now, had nothing to do with President Trump or Russia or collusion. Nothing. Now, instead, the prosecution of Paul Manafort, it represents yet the latest and another example of Team Mueller turning the screws on a one-time Trump ally in order to extort anything on President Trump. Now, in moments, we're going to highlight the sad two-tier justice system in this country, which we better save. And we're going to tell you who should really be facing charges tonight if we had equal application of our laws and equal justice under the law without political prejudice or literally criminalizing political differences. And also tonight, President Trump gave a rousing speech during a rally in Tampa, Florida, for gubernatorial candidate Ron DeSantis. We'll show you the highlights. Meanwhile, before Trump took the stage, poor CNN Jimmy Acosta got a taste of what Trump voters really think about CNN fake news. I'm going to give some advice to fake news CNN tonight, how they can regain the trust that Americans, well, that they've lost. I don't think they're going to take me up on it, but I'm going to try. And finally, disgusting language from the left and other never-Trumpers. You won't believe what one congressional candidate called our First Lady. Sit tight, buckle up. We have a jam-packed breaking news opening monologue. All right, if you tuned in to fake news CNN or conspiracy TV, MSNBC today, you would think this was the trial of the century. O.J. Simpson all over again. Former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort in a Northern Virginia courtroom now facing charges over an alleged tax evasion and money laundering dating back to 2005 to 2007. These charges have nothing to do at all with the president. These charges have nothing to do with Russian collusion. I'll be shocked if Russia is mentioned once in this trial. The mainstream media on full high alert. DEFCON level 10. The smoking gun against Donald Trump. Watch your fake news media in action from earlier today.
Trial day one for President Trump's former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, the man now facing a slew of charges.
The case against Manafort is also the first high-profile test of special counsel Robert Mueller.
If, for example, Mr. Manafort is found guilty, that makes it a real problem for the President of the United States.
Could Manafort, is there still time for him to cut a deal?
Paul Manafort.
Paul Manafort.
Paul Manafort.
Paul Manafort.
Paul Manafort.
Paul Manafort.
Paul Manafort. Paul Manafort. Paul Manafort. The president's former campaign chair is accused of hiding at least $30 million.
We're going to learn the nitty-gritty details about Paul Manafort's financial situation.
A jury has just been seated in U.S. versus Paul J. Manafort.
Did you see what color tie Paul Manafort was wearing? He did not either, because he's sat with his back to us.
There's your media obsessing over a 2005 tax case. We're going to bring you the truth tonight. Everything you're watching on the news media, it's all political. This is the weaponization, very dangerous, of our justice system. You have Paul Manafort, like Lieutenant General Flynn, Michael Cohen, and others being targeted because of their one-time association with Donald Trump. And look, let me be clear. I have no idea what Paul Manafort did in 2005, 6, or 7. But it wasn't with Russia. And I do know the special counsel investigation is literally trying to throw the book at him. They want to extract negative information only about the president. It's the only reason why this is happening. Or as the judge in this case, overseeing this case, literally said early on, telling Mueller's, quote, legal team, led by the corrupt Andrew Weissman, I don't see what relation this indictment has with anything the special prosecutors authorized to investigate. You don't really care about Mr. Manafort's bank fraud. You really care about what information Mr. Manafort can give you that would reflect on Mr. Trump or lead to his prosecution or his impeachment or whatever. And Judge T.S. Ellis goes on to say that Mueller wanted to, quote, tighten the screws, all in an effort to make Manafort sing or compose. By the way, composing means I'll say whatever you want if you don't put me in jail. I'll make up any story you want. That's the only reason this trial is happening. Now, if found guilty, Manafort faces, for a 2005 tax case, up to life in prison over financial-related charges. Has nothing to do with Russia at all. Nothing to do with President Trump. I think he worked for the president less than 100 days. In fact, witnesses have been instructed to avoid using Trump's name altogether in order to prevent political bias from playing a role with the jury. Now, without a doubt, Manafort's aggressive prosecution from a special counsel who is supposed to be investigating Russia is just one more clear example. In the United States of America today, sadly, we have a two-tiered system of justice in this country. Anyone ever associated with President Trump is now under the legal microscope. But Hillary Clinton, 2016, exoneration before investigation. Literally, they were writing it in May. They don't interview her till July. 3 days later, she's out free. And we know she committed crimes. We know the server was hacked by foreign entities. We know she violated the Espionage Act, mishandled secret intelligence. Where is that server? Where are those emails? Why did she destroy classified top secret information? We all know that if any of you out there, if you were to delete subpoenaed emails, acid wash your hard drive with bleach bit, bust up your devices with hammers, eliminate their SIM cards after they're subpoenaed, you would be charged with obstruction of justice. So the question really tonight is, why isn't Hillary Clinton on trial for violating the Espionage Act, for obstructing justice? And, of course, we got Clinton's dirty Russian dossier filled with Russian lies to influence the election and literally brainwash the American people and misinformation campaigns before the election. Why isn't Mueller investigating that collusion? And then there are high-ranking officials who lied to FISA judges 4 separate times. They didn't verify the information. They didn't corroborate the information. The information that they presented to the judges turned out to be untrue. Why are they on trial? Why didn't they tell these judges that Hillary Clinton literally paid for that information? They purposely withheld that information from the judges. Comey signed off on the FISA application. Sally Yates signed off on it. What about Strzok and Page? They steered 2 investigations, one in favor of the candidate they loved and one against the candidate they hate. Where's Andrew McCabe? We know the deputy FBI director is a liar and that he probably should be charged with certain crimes as well. Where's Clapper? Where's Brennan? Leaking the dossier information to people like, what, Harry Reid? This is the sad truth tonight in America. We have a two-tier justice system. As Mark Levin says, we live in a post-constitutional America. We better get our country back. We better start demanding equal justice under the law, equal application of our laws, or else we are going to lose our rights and our freedoms as a constitutional republic forever. That's why this upcoming midterm election in 98 days will be the single most important midterm in our lifetime. And we've only just begun to peel back the layers of this deep state. And our work, by the way, can only continue if Republicans maintain those majorities in the House and Senate, even if you have to hold your nose and vote for a rhino that's weak and spineless. At least they're not going to be trying to impeach the president. Now, earlier tonight, while campaigning for Florida gubernatorial candidate Ron DeSantis, well, the president had this to say about the upcoming elections and so much more. Let's take a look.
Democrats want to raise your taxes. They want to destroy your jobs. They want to crush our industries with crippling regulations. Republicans want strong borders and no crime. Democrats want open borders, which equals massive crime. And on top of that, the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, the whole group, Maxine, she likes me a lot. She likes me a lot. They've launched outrageous attacks on our incredible law enforcement officers and on ICE and our Border Patrol. Can you believe it? People that keep us safe. Their new platform, what they want to do, the Democrat Party, they want to abolish ICE. In other words, they want to let MS-13 rule our country. That's not going to happen. In some states, Democrats are even trying to give illegal immigrants the right to vote. They want to give them the right to vote. If you want safety, if you want borders, if you want to have a country then you need to go out and vote Republican.
So tonight, while President Trump slammed rightly Democrats, many in the crowd actually called out the abusively biased press in this country. In fact, many Floridians in attendance let CNN's Jim Acosta know exactly what they thought about his network's partisan, abusively biased coverage. Take a look.
The White House has held only 3 briefings for the press this month and 8 total since the end of May. There is no other way to describe what the White House is doing these days. Wolf, top officials, including the president, are hiding from the press. And Wolf, just to give you a sense as to what's happening right now, you can hear there is a chorus of boos and other chants from this Trump crowd here in Tampa, Florida. They're saying things like CNN sucks, go home, and fake news. Wolf, obviously, all of those things are false. We're staying right here. We're going to do our job and report on this rally to all of our viewers here tonight. Wolf.
Jim, they're not wrong. It's not false. You're probably watching because you don't watch your own network. I'm going to actually give your network some advice. If you have an open mind and an open heart, maybe a little humility. The people of this country, they're screaming at you for a reason. They don't like your unfair, abusively biased treatment of the President of the United States. Now, if you want to earn the respect of all Americans, not the coastal elites in California, LA, San Francisco, DC, and New York, maybe try reporting the entire story. Maybe try getting rid of the bias. Maybe examine, why are people saying this to us? In other words, coverage like this from the White House correspondent at CNN, this is why they're doing it. Take a look.
I'm going to move on. David, go ahead.
The president's tone
Jim,
towards
I'm
the press.
finished. Thank you.
The president's tone towards the press obviously is not helpful at times, and I think that that's plain to see. There are some fears up on Capitol Hill, and we understand some in the White House, that a Democratic wave is coming and can sweep the Republicans out of power in the House, and that could potentially lead to impeachment proceedings that the Democrats could bring forward. What is the president's thinking on that? What is your thinking on that? You understand how
Andrew?
the law could be different than border security, Sarah. Border security can
No,
mean
actually, I
drones,
don't,
it can mean agents, it could mean more fencing. It doesn't necessarily mean a physical
And that's part of the
wall
negotiation that we expect Congress to have.
But you understand Democrats are saying that they may not be in favor of this kind of deal. But they say thanks, but no thanks for a wall.
Jim, I'm not negotiating with you. I'm going to let Congress take care of that.
What we're witnessing right now is just this erosion of our freedoms in terms of covering the President of the United States. I think that there are moments when this president is just really sensitive to criticism, and he lashes out in this fashion. That is just a strange and unpresidential thing to do, to be throwing rolls of paper towels at people. The last 3 news conferences, Wolf, all of the questions to the American news media have been handled by conservative press. And I think, Wolf, there's no other way to describe it, but the fix is in.
The Statue of Liberty has always been
let me ask you a
beacon
question.
of hope to the world, for people to send
do you believe
people to this country, and they're not always going to speak English, Stephen. They're not always going to be highly skilled. They're not always going to be
Jim, I appreciate your speech.
I think we saw the president's true colors today, and I'm not sure they were red, white, and blue.
Not red, white, and blue. Jim Acosta, that's called opinion. And you're extremely rude. Oh, and a liberal partisan hack. That's why Americans don't trust you or fake news CNN. You pretend to be fair and unbiased journalist. You're not. You're not reporting facts. You're giving your opinion. You're an opinion channel. Every minute of every day, every week, 24/7, hate Trump. And it's pretty obvious, and the people see it. So instead of maybe doubling down on your anti-Trump rage, maybe look inward. Maybe find your zen. Maybe find your inner peace. Analyze objectively the overwhelming, nonstop, hysterical coverage against the president. In other words, maybe you'll have better luck getting an interview if you start being a little fair. Maybe, just maybe, you'll take my advice. I tend to doubt it. We do have a recent study. Fox News, that's right, this channel, not fake news CNN, is among the most trusted brands in TV news. Now, sadly, I doubt CNN is going to take my advice. So while CNN continues to trash the president hour after hour, minute after minute, day after day, many on the left, other never-Trumpers are engaging in rhetoric that is even worse, literally bottom of the barrel. Now, this week on Twitter, one congressional candidate from Oregon used one of the single most vulgar terms to describe the First Lady of the United States. Imagine the outrage if a Republican candidate ever said the same thing about the former First Lady, Michelle Obama. The outrage from these very same people would be nonstop. But the media has largely ignored this story. Still, some Republicans are calling for Twitter to ban this deranged Trump hater from their social media platform. We're not going to hold our breath. But with 98 short days until these important midterms, each night on this program, we will do something that your mainstream media will not do. We'll actually show you the very worst rhetoric coming out of the Democratic Party. It happens every single election cycle. They will call Republicans racist, sexist, misogynist, xenophobic, homophobic, Islamophobic, who want dirty air, dirty water. They want to throw Granny over the cliff and kill children. And just like the attacks on Melania Trump, there is only one way to counter the deranged left wing in this country. If you care about your rights, if you care about this country, if you care about the president's successful agenda, you better get your ass and go vote in November, because the future of the country does depend on it. Democrats have their post-election agenda in place. If they win in 98 days, you see on the screen what they will do. All right, before we get to our guest tonight, I got to wish a good friend of mine, Pete Constantino, a happy birthday. Now, he's a friend. He is a gifted, brilliant brain surgeon who has saved the lives of so many, including many in our military. Happy 50th birthday, Pete. All right, joining us now with reaction, our opening monologue, Fox News contributor Sarah Carter, author of the #1 book in the country, The Russia Hoax, The Illicit Scheme to Clear Hillary Clinton and Frame Donald Trump. Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett. Let's start with the Manafort trial. Will Russia get mentioned here?
No, Russia won't get mentioned. Collusion won't. Trump won't. Trump campaign won't. This is a perfect example of you will be persecuted and prosecuted if you so much as shake hands with Donald Trump or join, however briefly, his presidential campaign. If you're friends of Hill and Bill, wow, you get a sweetheart deal or immunity or a get-out-of-jail-free card. She should be, and should have been a long time ago. But James Comey abused the position of his office as FBI director to clear Hillary Clinton in the face of compelling evidence of criminality in order to clear her path to the presidency. And on the very day he cleared her, he launched the investigation of Donald Trump meeting secretly with the author of the anti-Trump dossier, who was on the payroll of Hillary Clinton. And he was off to the races to destroy Trump. And really, that's the thesis of the book, The Russia Hoax.
You know, Sarah, you have broken a lot of stories right here on this very program. And I'm watching a 2005 case that even the judge says, you don't care about Manafort's taxes. What you care about is putting the screws to Manafort so he sings or composes so you can prosecute or impeach Donald Trump. That's the only reason we're here. And all these other people whose corruption you've exposed and helped expose with Greg, they're not on trial today. I think every American needs to be worried.
Well, remember, Sean, Judge Ellis himself said he begrudgingly moved forward with this case only because Rod Rosenstein gave so much latitude to Special Counsel Mueller. So he gave him all this latitude. Let's not forget that Andrew Weissman is in charge of this case, right? Andrew Weissman, who, by the way, had met with the Associated Press the day before the Associated Press wrote that big expose. This is before he joined the Manafort team. And the Associated Press wrote that big expose on Paul Manafort on April 12th, 2017. And now they're fighting that. You know, Weissman was never removed from this case, and it should have been investigated because the FBI themselves, the people that were in that meeting with the AP, had actually filed a complaint against Weissman. And we're seeing a case that in 2014, the government had the opportunity to go after Paul Manafort. I don't know what he did. You don't know everything that he did. I mean, this is a case, but they decided to pass on it. I don't know anything about the Ukraine deals that he did.
Let me ask Greg this.
That's
Is this the same Weissman running this case? Wasn't he excoriated by 2 judges for withholding exculpatory evidence?
Oh, sure. And he
hang on. And it's the same guy, the tens of thousands of jobs at Anderson County were lost.
And overturned unanimously by the Supreme Court.
What was the 9-0?
9-0, yeah.
And didn't he put 4 Merrill executives in jail for a year?
Yeah, ruined their lives. And then, of course, they were released because what Weissman had done was wrong.
Overturned by the Fifth Circuit?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Why would somebody hire somebody with that record that has been excoriated by judges for withholding exculpatory evidence?
You do it if you want to hire a team of partisans to be unfair and not neutral, and to conjure a case out of thin air against somebody who's innocent. That's what they're doing here.
And this is all in your book, right?
It is. This is a perfect example of what happened today in court. Prosecutors tried to smear Paul Manafort simply because he's rich. And the judge stopped them and turned to the jurors and said, it's not a crime to have a lot of money. This is how pernicious these prosecutors are, how unprincipled and unscrupulous they are.
Sarah, I look at this track record of the guy that's leading this case, and I think of what the president says, 13 partisan Democrats. Isn't one of the hires, not just Andrew Weissman, Jeannie Ray? Tell me if I'm wrong. Did she ever work for the Clinton Foundation as a lawyer?
Well, yes, Sean. I mean, this should not be shocking to people right now, because what we've seen over and over again is extraordinary targeting of the president and everyone surrounding the president. And these people are doing everything they can to go after him. And this is one example of that. And we'll see other examples of that in the future.
You and Greg's book and me. I don't think they like any of us, but keep up the good work. Congrats on the book. Number one in the country.
Thank you very much.
All right, coming up, a warning about Mueller's justice system. It should scare all of you. Judge Jeanine Pirro, Bernie Kerik. Important interviews coming up next as we continue.
I didn't know anybody in Washington, but now I know everybody in Washington. I know the good ones. I know the bad ones. I know the wonderful people, and I know the scum. And America now is winning again, like they haven't won before. I am for America first and the American worker. We want to be a puppet for no one any longer. We're not going to be a puppet any longer.
All right, that was the president earlier tonight in Florida. President Trump is staying focused on implementing his agenda, keeping his promises, while the Russia witch hunt continues despite zero evidence after 400 and whatever many days of Russia collusion. Today, former New York City Police Commissioner Bernie Kerik, he wrote an op-ed, very important, quote, Mueller's weaponized justice system should scare all Americans. Bernie Kerik, hero of 9/11. Joins us in studio, along with the author. She is now the #1 best-selling author, the New York Times. Now, that is the hugest accomplishment for a person that I love, admire, and she fills on this show, and she's got her own show, Liars, Leakers, Liberals, The Case Against the Anti-Trump Conspiracy, host of Justice Jeanine Pirro. Now, here's a problem I have. So Greg's book came out much after yours. Your book has been #1 on the New York Times list. Okay, he's #1 on Amazon. So I got the two #1 people here,
and I have to say, we love you. We all come on to be on your show.
All right. Well, I love it when you fill in. Here's what I'm worried about. I want to bring people inside the justice system. This is a different discussion. Sammy the Bull Gravano. Didn't they know he killed 19 people? They did, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. They gave him a deal. They said, if you testify, I think it was against John Gotti Sr. at the time. Okay. The Teflon Don. If you testify, we're not going to put you in jail for killing 19 people. Some say 20. He then gets the government to give him a house in Arizona in a witness protection program. In other words, they put the screws to him. If you sing or compose, I don't know what he did. I don't remember the case. We're going to give you a sweetheart deal. Now, you got all these people getting sweetheart deals in the Manafort case. So here's my question as a judge and as an attorney. How often do they offer deals like this? And aren't there many people that say, well, what do you want me to say to keep me out of jail?
Well, look, there's no question, and it speaks to the article that Bernie wrote today, and that is that U.S. attorneys very often have a political agenda, and that political agenda will determine whether or not they want to forgive someone who has murdered 19 people that they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt so that they can go after someone else. They're going after Mueller, and Bernie can talk about this, because they want to squeeze him. They're going after Michael Cohen.
Why would you ever let somebody who killed 19 people make a deal, isn't he going to say whatever you want him to say?
Well, you know what? When I was a DA, I would make deals with drug dealers to get after the guy who was above that drug dealer. You do it all the time in law enforcement.
Okay, but what credibility do they have, Bernie? And this goes to the heart of your article today.
Listen, the credibility is slim, and here's the problem. Every one of the people I mentioned in the article, Cohen, Flynn, and Manafort, they are specifically investigative targets just because they knew Trump, just because they were associated with Trump. Yep. All three. And Cohen, who I'm pretty disappointed with at this stage, but Cohen, ironically, was his attorney, and they targeted him intentionally for this reason, to create a conflict, make him a witness, and guarantee that he can no longer talk to Trump. That's the purpose behind targeting the attorney. And now, you know, you talk about what they did with Sammy the Bull. They charged Michael Flynn with one false statement.
By the way, both FBI agents and Comey said they didn't think he was lying.
Right.
And he's had to sell his home. And they said, well, we're going to go after your kid. I'm assuming that happened, and I guarantee you it happened. And he said, so what father's not going to dive on the sword to kill themselves for their kid? Did he do that?
Well,
probably.
There's no question. They do it all the time. That's what they do to get people to plead. We're going after your son, your accountant, your mother, your daughter. We want this guy, and in order to get him, everyone he's ever touched is who.
Why would a jury ever believe somebody who cut a deal to save their ass?
Because the prosecutor will pick a jury, and he will tell them, look, this is the only way we can prove a crime. We don't even like doing what we do. And then the jury says, well, wait a minute. And what they're doing in the Manafort case, they're bringing in all kinds of evidence to show he thinks he's above the law. He bought Persian rugs and he bought an ostrich jacket.
Right, how great was the judge today? If you're wealthy, it's not a crime.
Right. He's great. He's a great judge.
Tell you something. I give this judge a lot of credit. Emmett Sullivan, the judge in the Flynn case, the new judge. These guys know.
Sullivan said, I'll decide what's exculpatory. Give me all of it.
No, that's exactly right. And that's fortunate for these men, because normally that's not the case. Normally, the prosecutors, federal prosecutors, sort of run rogue over these cases, and when they do so, the judges sit back and let them do what they want.
If I'm on a jury and I'm listening to the defense ask, now, did you cut a deal with those guys over there? So did they threaten to put you in jail? Did they say you're not going to go to jail if you do this? I'm dismissing that person. Because I don't believe you. If you cut a deal to get out of jail, you're going to be honest. You were basically bribed and paid.
Well,
true or false? True or false?
If you were going to do that, yes. But if you have people sitting on a jury and the prosecutor already has them,
aren't they bribing the witnesses? Yes or no?
Yes or no? Yes.
They're bribing the witnesses.
But John, it's even worse than that sometimes. They're bribing the witnesses to get them to testify, but a lot of times
compose.
And it's what Alan Dershowitz said earlier. They extort testimony that's false out of these people.
That's what Judge Ellis meant when he said sing or compose. What would you like me to say to keep me out of jail?
Look, it's the same with Michael Cohen. I said on my show this weekend, that guy, he'll confess to sinking the Titanic because he wants to get out of jail. And when the jury looks at him, they're going to say, well, the prosecutor makes a good case. They had to do this to get the evidence. Otherwise, they can't get the bad guys.
I'm sorry. I don't believe bribery is the only way to get the evidence.
Do you know what the conviction rate is in federal prosecutors? 97, 98%.
98%.
98%.
In state courts, it's 65 to 75% around the country.
The feds got you by the short.
By what? Did you have to say that? That's not going to make news. You're going to be on the headline of Media. Why did you say that?
Because I want them to know. My point is that the feds, when they squeeze you tight.
All right. Good to see you both. We got to roll. By the way, Judge Piro's book right now on the New York Times is the number one. Say it, Bernie. Number one. Liars, leakers,
Washington
liberals.
Post,
in stores everywhere. Greg's is number one on Amazon. You've been out for how many weeks?
Number one on Amazon. Yeah.
Proud of you. All right. Jesse and Jessica. Wow, this will get interesting next. Straight ahead.
Salon. Just last week, it was announced that the U.S. economy grew at 4.1% last quarter. It was a number that everybody said was not reachable, And I would never want to say it during the campaign, even though I believed it. We're setting records like never before. Since the election, we have added 3.7 million new jobs. They would not have believed it. We're in the longest positive job growth streak in history. Think of that.
That was the president earlier tonight, Tampa, Florida, touting his economic accomplishments since taking office. Now, Trump's record does speak for itself, but with the midterms 98 days away, Jessica's friends are working overdrive to downplay and discredit this record. This is what The Hill yesterday reported, quote, celebrities dive into midterms hoping to thwart Trump. Here with reaction. He's got two shows, not one, two. Host of Waters World, co-host of the hit show The Five, Jesse Waters, and Fox News contributor Jessica Tarloff. All right, let's just go through it really quick. Obama, 13 million more Americans, food stamps, 8 million more in poverty, lowest labor participation rate since the 70s, worst recovery since the 40s, lowest home ownership rate in 51 years, accumulated more debt than every other president before him combined. Trump, 4 million new jobs created, the best labor participation rate that we've ever had, record low unemployment, 14 states, Hispanic Americans, African Americans, Asian Americans, women in the workplace, and we have more jobs available in America than we have on unemployment. This is the single greatest economy that we have had in 10 years. Tell me what's wrong with that. Why would you want to go back to your friend Obama's record and agenda?
Because he did better.
Oh, God.
You just lost.
I didn't just lost. No,
You just lost.
absolutely not. President Obama added over 11 million jobs. He got the unemployment rate down from 7.8% to 4.8%. There are 15 million Americans who are insured now because of President Obama. It is true. Don't shake your head. I didn't shake my head at you.
I'm not calling you stupid, but it's the economy stupid. When Obama was in charge,
You've
he
gotten
averaged
so mature. That's real maturity.
I got to cover my bases. When Obama was in charge, it was 1.6 average GDP growth. Trump's already averaging near than 3% growth. Wages are up. The stock market's up 30%.
Actually, the wages are the problem, and the president tweeted that
record low unemployment. And then what happened during the State of the Union? No one even clapped when that was announced because you guys are running on socialism, open borders, and impeachment. The face of your party is Maxine Waters. What is she going to chase everybody out of a restaurant? And Nancy Pelosi, the most unpopular politician in America. And then you have Trump, a stable genius at 48%. I'll go with Trump.
He's not at 48%.
Yes, Rasmussen has him at 48.
Rasmussen at one point had 51. Talk to any pollster about the Rasmussen poll, and you'll get a very different reaction.
Rasmussen nailed the 2016 election. I'll take that over the fake news polls.
Rasmussen did nail the 2016 election.
Okay. Actually, a lot of pollsters got the 2016 election.
Jesse.
No, it's not. Also, Maxine Waters is not the face of our party. Also, Hillary Clinton isn't either, if you're about to say that.
Who is the face?
Who is the face of the party? A lot of different people are. Depends where you are. It's a local.
I can tell you the face of the Republican Party.
Yeah, I can. I'm not a big fan of that
Donald
face.
J. Trump.
I have more things to say also. Yes, he got 4.1% GDP growth. President Obama got that, 4 quarters? Even made it over 5%.
What was his average in 8 years?
1.6.
Yeah, we'll see how this president does, who also told you, oh, maybe I'll get to 7, 8, 9%, which is utterly ridiculous.
I remember when Barack Obama was talking about bringing jobs back. 300,000 manufacturing jobs left America under Barack Obama. Donald Trump already added 300,000 manufacturing jobs.
He said those jobs are never coming back.
Never coming back, and they did.
I don't know why you're, first of all, grading someone on 2 years of this. President Obama certainly
he's doing better in 2 years than Obama did in 8.
I know, and I've read Charlie Kirk's tweets where he says, Donald Trump has accomplished more in 2 years than President Obama did in 8, but it's factually inaccurate.
We have 2 minutes left. I already have the winner, but go ahead.
You said you were going to be fair tonight.
I am being fair.
I've come armed with statistics.
You have a lot of ground to cover in 2 minutes.
But I feel like I'm doing a good job. Let's talk about solar and wind energy. I know that's a big winner for you guys.
Wait a minute, Solyndra.
It went up 369%. Yes, there was a decrease in coal jobs.
You know what the future is going to be? Flex fuels.
Okay.
The future, and America will be the world's dominant producer of energy by the end of the Trump administration in 6 years.
So you don't think it'll be clean coal?
Well, that's going to be part of the solution. You could actually make flex fuels, ethanol out of it.
Okay. What do you think about the farm subsidies? What do you think about the tariff war? How does that trade war feel?
You know what I think a good trade was? Trump put America first instead of America last. That's a good trend.
Is that how those soybean farmers feel?
You know what it's like? Short-term pain
Davidson?
for long-term gain. It's like when I go to the gym, you know, no pain, no gain.
Yeah, I've heard that. I don't go to the gym that often, but I have heard people say that. The soybean farmers, not big fans. Those who work at Coca-Cola, I know Caterpillar managed to earn enough that they could offset the fact that they'll have to raise prices.
What happened last week with Europe? There was a trade war, or did we get a better deal?
We haven't seen the final settlement there yet. We're moving towards progress.
Did we get a better deal, or did we get a trade war?
We got a better deal.
We got a better deal.
You don't know what you have yet.
Would we have gotten a deal if the president didn't negotiate it?
No, obviously you have to bring it up.
So, a concession.
Yeah, well, it's not really a concession.
So say thank you. You can say it. Say thank you, President Trump.
And the president also got the European countries to pony up more to cover the cost of
Aren't you happy? Aren't you happy, seriously, that all these manufacturing jobs are back?
Of course.
Aren't you happy the economy's doing well?
Of course, but that doesn't mean
you know what the problem is for your party? Every bit of good news is bad news for your attempts to take back power.
No, I don't think that's
they don't
true.
like it.
If you look also how the president
Bill Maher said it. He hopes for a recession.
I don't agree with Bill Maher on that. I don't know any Democrats who are the face of the party or not who would say something like that. The president, yes, is rated extremely high. Stop. I actually think I've killed it this evening.
Delusional.
And
now you guys are so desperate you're bringing celebrities to campaign. What's Madonna going to blow up the White House?
You guys would love it if a celebrity wanted to campaign for you.
What's De Niro going to punch Trump in the face?
Would love it. Kanye West sends out one tweet in favor of the president, and you guys are riding high on it because no celebrities are fans
Barbara Streisand. How's that for a fair trade?
That's a trade I would definitely
You could have all of Hollywood if you really want it.
You take
Are
You've
you guys
got them
going to
already.
see Bette
We'll take
Midler
the
and Hello
country.
Dolly? She's supposed to be amazing.
You know what?
What? Not a theater buff?
It was a bad day for you. It's Jesse's world. He owns it. There you go.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, when we come back, I love this story. The president pardoned Alice Marie Johnson. She was going to spend 20 years in prison. But thanks to President Trump, she's here. Her incredible story next. All right, this past May, Kim Kardashian West appealed to President Trump to commute the life sentence of Alice Marie Johnson. She is a 63-year-old great-grandmother. She served nearly 22 years in prison. One offense, a first-time nonviolent drug offense, life sentence. It's insanity. President Trump did rightly commute Alice's sentence, and you all remember this was I'm getting goosebumps watching it now, an emotional video. Alice reuniting with her family early last month after nearly 22 years behind bars. By the way, Kim Kardashian is receiving backlash after refusing to malign the president in an interview with Mr. Weinstein Jr., Jimmy Kimmel last night. Take a look.
I'm very hopeful that more good things are going to come out of our conversation. I have nothing bad to say about the president. You know, he's done something
still have people
amazing.
On the list,
so
you know?
I'm very focused, and but I don't agree with everything either. You know, and I had no idea what to expect, and going in there, I just was like, look, I'm going to be focused, and it really turned my idea around in this category.
Here's Reaction Live in studio. Alice Marie Johnson, I am so honored you are here.
Thank you.
I am so happy you are out.
Thank you.
I don't talk about conversations I've had with the president, but I did when I saw him last. We talked about you. That video moved his heart, and he actually said to me, I'm going to do more of this. How do you feel?
I feel this does not seem real. My sister's in the studio with me tonight.
Hi. Yeah.
She's the one who ran out and brought the roses to me. The reaction that I'm getting from the public, every single place that I go, if people recognize who I am, they hug me, they tell me how happy they are that I'm home, they tell me how much they were praying for me, and how they followed from the day Kim went to the White House. There were prayer vigils going on all over this world, literally.
How hard was that?
The waiting has been very painful for me and my family. We've had so many ups and downs, so many false alarms that it was going to happen for years. We have fought and fought and fought.
And Donald Trump did it.
He did it.
And Kim Kardashian, God bless her, she went to the White House for you. How cool was that?
Yes. On my birthday. Did you realize it was on my birthday? I was watching TV that day, didn't have any idea that what she was about to do, to tweet something out, happy birthday, Alice Marie Johnson. Today is for you. And I am so happy that Kim is staying focused, because there are so many others just like me who are nonviolent offenders.
How do you get a life sentence over no previous crime ever? You didn't even get a parking ticket. That's insane.
That lets you know something. This system is broken.
It's busted.
It needs to be fixed.
I agree with you.
And I'm so happy that you recognize that.
The president said he's going to do more of it. You want him to do more of it.
Yes, I do. I'm so happy that his heart has been touched to do more.
You touched it. He told me personally. You did. And there's something else you did that really amazed me. And I talked about it at the time. I loved what you said. You came out and said, thank you, America. You thanked the president. Thank you for giving me a second chance. You even said, I won't let you down.
I won't let him down.
You're not